Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. Last time we got the pendant from Claude, so that's nice, I guess. Sometimes I feel like I'm a robot who's just like, oh yeah, that's nice. Dot 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 dot. It's like I have no emotions, and I think it's because I can't really express my feelings that well. I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at being human. That's why you call me I, because it stands for AI. Learn more about me, eh? Let's get started on the new chapter. This will be the last point, princess. Jern rushes forward without counting down to the last second. She holds a sword down, and I can tell that she means to strike at my hip. I bring up my blade to block her attack. The swords collide, but not for long. Her blade slides past mine and rises to meet my shoulder. I step back just in time to catch her next strike. This was supposed to be a practice session with Claude, but he disappeared earlier this morning before I could catch him. Ever since that strange fight happened with his brother, he has been conveniently busy. Why is he avoiding me? I am barely able to dodge Duran's next strike as I delve deeper into my thoughts. It's not just Claude's business that bothers me. Ever since he and Lance fought, I have been having nightmares that are most likely fueled by Tenenbaum. They tend to be an after effect of negative energy. I feel an agitated strand of electricity snake its way up my arm and quickly shake it off before Jiren can touch me. Though I am fast enough to dispel the magic, I'm not quick enough to bring my sword up in time. Jiren gains the final point by tapping her blade on my shoulder. You are distracted. Are you okay, princess? I am fine. Does this have anything to do with Prince Claude? He seemed a little off kilter lately. Garland said yesterday that he looked tired enough to collapse right there in the hallways. He is, as always, overworking himself. He will be fine. What's up with, princesses, suitors? Not suitors, well, her chosen guy overworking themselves. Like Rod overworked himself to be by the princess's side, and this time Claude is overworking himself for who knows what. Why are they overworking themselves? Why do people do that? I mean, I get it. I've overworked myself before because I want to achieve something, but why are these two specifically overworking themselves? Are all of the pairs of the princess's pair gonna overwork themselves? Is this gonna be a recurring theme? Because it's gonna get boring soon enough. He is obviously not alright. I should try speaking with him later. I sheath the sword I am holding. Thank you for agreeing to meet for our practice on such a late notice. It's always a pleasure, Your Highness. It is an honor for Garland and I to help you with your sword play. After sheathing her own sword, Jiren and I make our way over to the tree stump where we would have stored our supplies. The last items we pick are the flowers resting carefully at its base. We make our way silently through the trees and into a clearing where a single gravestone lies illuminated in a gentle light. Jiren heads over to the gravestone first and sets down her flower. Oh my gosh. Is it Fritz? Please. If it's Fritz, I can't handle this. Fritz is my... Fritz is the only one for me. If you guys didn't know, I love Fritz. He's so cute. So dreamy. He's so strong. He's like one of the knights in He's one of the knights, and he's like so nice. Why is he so nice? And he cares so much about the princess. Why wouldn't you love Fritz? Hello, Fritz. Fritz, why did you have to die in this route? This route would have been perfect if you didn't die. I love Claude, but Fritz dying was so unexpected and so not cool. She smiles as I set down my lily. I take a step back to look at the gravestone, which has Fritz's name and a title engraved to it. Fritz. For a few moments, I'm stuck staring at the gravestone in quiet contemplation. No matter how many years pass, I will never forget the smile he wore on his face as he died, or the apology he uttered with his dying breath. After everything he did, the least I can do is visit him once a month to pay my respects. Normally, it is Claude that is here to pay respects with me. I lean down beside the gravestone and speak to Fritz briefly. It is a small thing, just a simple prayer for him. Juran does the same. When we are done, I bow my head slightly and whisper, I hope you are happy, wherever you are, Fritz. After we are done, we head back to the palace together. Our time together is brief. We both have our own commitments for the day. Juran has nights she must supervise, and I have an obligation to meet with my father and the counselors. After exchanging farewells at the front gate, we both go our own ways. Much to my surprise, the throne room is devoid of the usual advisors when I enter. The king is seated at the head of a mostly empty table. Claude is the only one who sits beside him. The two of them pause in their conversation and look up at me. Claude flashes me with a sheepish smile. I scowl back at him. Aw, so mean, princess. You don't gotta be mean. But I guess princess's sentiments is understandable, I guess. The king looks between the two of us quizzically, but does not comment as I take my seat on the opposite side of the table. I thought this was a meeting to discuss the implementation of a new law. Where are the counselors? Father just smiles at me. There was a change in schedule. It turns out that the new law that we were meant to discuss today has not been properly plotted. The counselors were meant to have the proposals ready today, but I concluded that many of them were not aptly prepared and thus decided to reschedule. Their disorganization is astounding. It is no matter. The meeting has already been rescheduled at a time that is more convenient for everyone. Seeing as this time had opened up, I decided to reserve it for the both of you instead. Father turns to regard Claude. Have you given any thought to the situation I posted yesterday? I have. Situation? I know Claude and Father meet on a regular basis for special meetings, but Claude does not tell me beyond the fact that the king usually tests him in some way. Claude turns to look at me, his expression solemn. The king gave me a hypothetical scenario a few days ago and told me to come up with a solution to it. The situation is this. A threat to the kingdom of Angeli stands at the outskirts of the country. The threat is a group of dangerous witches. Witches. The word forces me to reflect on Angeli's current situation. Though tension is between witches and humans have significantly decreased over the past few years, there is still undoubtedly a corrupted witches in our midst. It does not matter that the fairy tale curse does not exist anymore. There are still witches who use the magic to threaten humans. I have been trying my best to settle these affairs as a tenant bearer, but even my influence is not all powerful. I suppose the king scenario isn't inappropriate given the kingdom's current social climate. I think that, but I still cannot help but feel my heart sink at the thought. Though Claude tells me I should not blame myself for these incidents, I cannot help it. Even though I am being helped by a lot of people, it is still my obligation to speak with the witches and smooth out the tensions between them and humans. I shake my head as if to physically dispel the thoughts from my mind, then turn my attention back to the conversation at hand. In this scenario, the witches have already harmed some of the citizens. Given the kingdom's previous history with them, what action would you take as king to dispel the threat? Send in the cavalry. Why not ask Lucette to handle the situation as king? I mean, if you're gonna be king, Claude, then Lucette's surely gonna be the queen. She's the Terran bearer. Why not ask her to resolve the fight? I mean, it is kind of her obligation, like she said. Am I not thinking about this carefully? I feel like I feel like I'm sweeping things under the rug too easily. Something's off, but I don't know what. Something's wrong with my logic, but I have no idea what it is. Both father and I stare critically at Claude. My answer still remains the same, Your Majesty. I refuse to meet his threat with hostility until I've captured and spoken with them. I don't believe that I alone would have the right to judge them. I would speak with a witch on the matter before passing judgment. How would you explain this to the townsfolk? What do you mean? What if many of the citizens are still wary of witches because of the war, advocated for an immediate death sentence? I feel a soft pang in my heart at the statement. Whenever father says things like that, I cannot help but imagine the atrocities the witches had to face here in Anzalea during the war. I would say that such a decision would be inhumane. In my eyes, condemning anyone to death is an unforgivable crime. Besides that, everyone deserves a trial, no matter if they're a human, a witch, or a fairy. Even given Lucette's efforts to heal the divide between the witches and humans, the rift still exists. Their relationship hangs on a precious thread. If we disregard the trial, we risk harming that already fragile relationship. Then what would you do when faced with this imminent threat? It goes without saying that I would speak with the Terran bearer first. Since she and the Lucis bearer are in charge of maintaining peace at the most basic level, it is imperative that we seek their counsel first. At the same time, we should prioritize the safety of the civilians that might be in danger. Second, intensify security. But no action is to be taken before we ask the opinions of the bearers. In this scenario, it would make more sense to speak with the Terran bearer first. I imagine that the Terran bearer is unavailable in this situation. Oh, I read that wrong. Imagine that the Terran bearer is unavailable in this situation. The sole responsibility to act lies on your shoulders, Claude. Both Claude and I stare at the king. Unavailable? In this hypothetical situation, yes. Perhaps the Terran bearer is an important meeting. Whatever the case, she is unavailable. Well, if you cannot rely on anyone else, what decision do you make? Claude looks at the king, composed but quiet. He looks like he is struggling to figure out. I would try to help. If it were me, I would try to help however I can, but I don't want to impose myself. This is supposed to be Claude doing this training for Claude, right? I wouldn't want to impose on them. It would be rude of me, wouldn't it? But helping him, why not help him? As queen, you are the partner to the king, right? You should be helping each other out. But then again, you're being rude by interrupting their conversation. Lucette is just sitting there listening. So I don't know, man. I'm so bad at automate games and choices. I usually just pick the wrong choices and get the bad end, which is good for me because I usually want to get the bad end first. Okay, let's just get the. I'm aiming for the normal end, so remain silent. It is not my place to speak. The king may have called me here, but this is Claude's test. Besides, I trust him that he already knows how to answer. Claude finally speaks, a little hesitantly at first. With all due respect, Your Majesty. A king rules for the people, yes. Even if he was just a human king, he has the responsibility to oversee the safety of all civilians in his kingdom, human or not. Thus, I would say it is necessary that we seek the guidance from others. The kingdom has a responsibility to work with the witches to solve the problem. Such collaboration is vital to maintaining peace. To skew the balance even more by condemning a group of witches to death would not just be a fool's move, it would be an echo of the same heartlessness that started the war in the first place. The king looks at him thoughtful. When the Great War broke out, Brigantia was uninvolved. My father has always disliked war. He has always believed that violence only begets more violence. It is for this reason that we did not come to anyone's aid in the previous skirmish. I heard about the notorious Hilda growing up. Stories of her radiant beauty and strength, of her intimidating but regal existence. When those stories became tales of a woman whose heart was made of ice, I was not fearful. I was saddened. I often wondered what could be done to bring such noble figure to madness. I met a good many witches in Angeli, and I can see with pure conviction that there are many that can be trusted, even despite the current divide. A king may wear the crown on his head and have the final say, but he must always take advice from those that have more experience than him. It is so strange to see Claude so humble. Speaking outside of hypotheticals, Your Majesty, I am extremely lucky. Lucette will make the perfect queen. She's a natural-born ruler who has learned balance better than any of us. You still manage to be the flatterer, no matter the situation. I say that, but I cannot help but smile. At first, there is no immediate response to Claude's words. Father looks thoughtful as he strokes his chin, taking in his words, and abruptly he laughs. Claude flushes faintly. Did I speak out of line, Your Majesty? No, not at all. I am just amused. I do not know the Brigantian king well, but on occasions I have met with him, he has spoken just as you have. He is a man that upholds his morals no matter the danger. Some may see it as selflessness or naivety, but in the end, he has always tried for balance and peace. That is the reason you took up the sword, isn't it? To protect the peace? The flush on Claude's cheek becomes a dark pink. Seeing him so embarrassed in front of the king makes me smirk. Yes, Your Majesty. I should also mention that he plays with swords because he finds them flashy. Lucette, darling. The king laughs before waving the comment off with a smile. I am not worried about you, either of you. When the time comes for you to wear crowns, I know that this kingdom will be in capable hands. It is a blessing that I still have a father here to help me guide my hand. I have always been prepared to take the responsibility as queen, but I also know that it is a very heavy weight. I am glad that I am closer with father now, so I can seek his counsel. The two of you are excused. What? Your Majesty? What? Did he call Lucette for nothing? What did he call Lucette here for? What? I'm so confused. Bruh, he called Lucette here just to listen to Klaude? Bruh, so maybe I was supposed to help in a way? Oh well. That is all I required of you today, Klaude. The same goes for you too, Lucette. I will let you know when I have rescheduled the meeting with our advisors. Alright, the advisors, I forgot. Oops. I always forget new information if I don't write it down. It just flies out of my head. Like my mom telling me to wash the dishes, I'll be like, yeah. The next minute, I forget. I'm just so clumsy, just so forgetful. I have no idea why. I try to remember. I make it a habit to remember things. But I just forget instantly because I get distracted. Such a klutz. It's as if I'm always high or something. Alright. Both Klaude and I sigh out in unison when the king excuses us. The two of us have barely left our seats when the king speaks again. I am sorry, Lucette. Sorry? I hope you didn't find that scenario offensive in any way. Perhaps once I might have, but I understand father's reasoning. I am glad that he's making an effort to understand my feelings at least. I never meant to imply that you are not doing a good job keeping the balance as a Tenenbaum bearer. I'm proud of you and the work you put into this kingdom. Thank you, Your Majesty. I wouldn't mind being called father every once in a while, you know. The two of us exchange smiles before I turn back to Klaude. By the time I turn around, however, he is already at the doors. Even as I watch, he passes through them without ever glancing back. My earlier contentedness fades away into agitation. He is not getting away. I hardly say my farewells to the king before rushing out to the door after Klaude. Klaude has only made it a few steps down the hallway when I hold out my hand and gather ice at my fingertips. The ice gathers at Claude's feet and roots him in place. Not so fast, coward prince. Lucette, love, why did you stop me just so that you can tell me how impressed you were with my performance in there? He seemed about to say something else before he stops to look at me. The glower in my face must be intense, for it makes his good cheer wither away immediately. Explain now. Oh, you mean about the... Klaude stops to glance at someone approaching behind me. I barely have enough time to follow his gaze before I notice that Lance has stepped to Hina's frowning. Karma? Llama? Lance narrows his eyes at him. I challenge you. What? I challenge you to... Excuse me! Exactly, princess! You just rude! What rudeness rudeness is this? You just interrupted me in the middle of raising him on the ground. Like, so rude. I was talking to him first. Get in line. Lance's eyes widen when he sees me standing there. He eyes the ice at his fingertips, then his brother's feet, before cravenly stepping back with an apologetic smile. Sorry, I got so riled up I didn't realize you're standing there, Princess Lucette. You should freeze his feet to the ground just for that, Lucette. I ignore Klaude and turn to Lance. I need to speak with Klaude about something important, Lance. So unless this challenge of yours cannot wait, I would prefer you come back later. Ah, my apologies. It's typical Brigantian tradition to challenge those you want to prove yourself to. Lance narrows his eyes at Klaude. That is why I'm here to challenge you, Klaude. In the end, he is so riled up, he completely ignored me. Klaude looks at him for a few moments, disgruntled, then he smirks. Usually, I'm the one to challenge you, but if you insist, you're gonna have to let me choose the challenge. I haven't forgotten the last time you chose chess. It was not my fault people were cheering for me because I had a better disposition. Do you know how difficult it is to win at chess when people are jeering at you? Lance inclines his head towards me. Why don't we let the princess select the challenge? Klaude looks like he's about to protest before he notices the frown on my face. Fine. After you select this challenge, I'll tell you everything you want to know, Lucette. No more running. Your promise? I promise. I can either put them on a level playing field or give Klaude an advantage. Obviously level playing field. What? Why would you give somebody the advantage? Why? It's rude to both of them. Like you're literally giving somebody the win. Like without anything starting. It's rude to Lance, who wants to prove that he approves something to Klaude. It's rude to Klaude because you're just letting him win. A challenge is a challenge. It should be fair. Then chess. Unless that's Klaude's advantage. I'm pretty sure short. I'm pretty sure sword fighting is Klaude's advantage. I think. Should be. So chess. But Lucette, I cannot imagine why you would play with an audience in the first place. But there should be no problems if you two play with just each other. But Lucette, an audience is always necessary. I agree. Victory is no fun unless you have an audience there to witness the loser's defeat. What the? These brothers there's something wrong with their heads. Why should a challenge be public? That's just to witness the loser's defeat. What? These brothers, there's something wrong with them. I swear. I thought Lance was the nice boy. He turns out to not be as nice as I thought. Am I an idealist? Yes. I think everyone should be like Fritz, I guess. Fritz is the perfect boy. What the heck is wrong with my head? I almost swore, which is not good. But in the end, they're both brothers and they're both the same. They're almost They're so similar. They're so similar. The two men glare at each other. I stifle a sigh. Fine, if I'm not enough of a weakness, then we will have Rod and Emmeline there as well. Fine, but no cheering allowed. I have no complaints. I accept your challenge. Now I just somehow need to convince Rod and Emmeline to be there. Good. Now that the two of you decided on a challenge, you are done. If you don't mind, Lance, I have business with my fiancé. Lance bobs his head politely at me. Of course. Thank you for your assistance, Princess Lucette. He flashes me a grateful smile before turning away, not even bothering to say anything to his brother. Once Lance is gone, I turn to Klaude with my eyebrows raised. You told me before that you would tell me what's happening between you and Lance, that you would tell me what has been bothering you. You have been insisting that you are fine when you are not. And because of you, I have been having nightmares. You have? Lucette, I have no idea. I apologize. If you are sorry, then you will tell me what's going on. Klaude nods his head as he slowly defeated. After dispelling the ice on his feet, I half pull him back to my room. When we return, I take a seat by the window while Klaude makes himself comfortable at the piano bench. As always, you are trying to run from your responsibilities. I must disagree with you. I've shirked no responsibilities. But you have. You have a responsibility to tell me when something is wrong. We made a promise 2 years ago that there would be no more secrets between us. Like I said before, is this gonna be a recurring theme where the guys all keep a secret from Lucette? Fingers crossed, let's not be. For a few moments, Klaude only looks at me quietly. He looks somewhere in between melancholy and thoughtful, almost like he is lost in his own reverie. Lotus reverie? When he does finally speak, he looks calmer. Allow me to start off first by apologizing. There are 2 reasons I never said anything. The first is simple. I had thought that these feelings I had would be fleeting. I didn't expect them to cling on me so persistently. And my second reason, he sighs. Every person has their share of pride. I know what I'm feeling is petty, which is why I would rather not be brought it up to you. I furrow my eyebrows at Klaude. Klaude, you know you can always talk to me. I'd rather you tell me things openly without having to pry them out of you. Unless you'd rather I shock the truth out of you. A small strand of electricity travels up my arm on accident when I say that, but Klaude seems to think I have called on purpose. He shrinks back. I think I would rather not make you angry. The last time you were irritated, you sliced off my hair. Oh, is that why he has shorter hair? Okay. I getcha. For those who don't know, I'll put on screen for what Klaude's hair originally. What the fuck am I? Oh, sorry. For what his original length of hair was, and compare it to now. Sheesh, boy. I thought he did it on his own. And I was just like, wow, you're looking fine. But it was Princess who cut off his hair. That's hilarious. He puts his hand absently to the back of his neck and grumbles. You deserve that. Turning your back on someone during a fight is antagonizing. Claude sighs. I'm sorry, I'm just in the habit of keeping things secret. I've told you before that my father and mother are all about appearances, haven't I? Father believes that keeping things to oneself is a good way of showing self-discipline and control. I've always lived by those words. It wasn't until I met you that I began to realize how important sharing the truth was. He leans back against the piano, eyes narrowed slightly in thought. Finally, he shrugs his shoulders. If you want the pathetic truth, then I'll share it willingly. My current irritation comes from the lack of self-confidence. My brother's and mine. What? Hard to believe, isn't it? I think back to the way Claude interacted with the king in the throne room. To me, he seemed quite at ease. He crosses his arm and groans. Lance is like a mirror. What else? First he's like a magnet, now he's a mirror. What other inanimate object is he? Well, I guess humans have a lot of traits, so I don't blame him for calling him a lot of things. What? Whenever he is here, I cannot help but think on the things that I left behind and the responsibilities I have before me. And not only that, but Lance's insecurities remind me of my own. His stem from the lack of confidence in leading, and mine stem from being inadequate at following. All my life, I've been training to be the Bargantian king. I was a good student. I could afford missing no lessons because I was naturally gifted. Show off. I don't mean to gloat, I swear. It's as if he heard me, guys. Of course not. Well, he sighs. Anyway, here every lesson is a struggle. Your father holds different opinions on politics and responsibilities. Sometimes when I'm sitting in the council listening to them making decisions based off Anseli's conflicted history, I feel out of my element. Staying with you and Anseli was my choice, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But sometimes I miss home. I miss the comfort of responsibilities that I know. So the reason you were so irritated with Lance earlier was because you are jealous of him? I suppose if you wanted to simplify the problem, yes. But jealousy is such an ugly word. I agree. Why not call it wanting somebody else's things because you don't have them yourself. What? What am I saying again? What am I doing? He runs a hand through his hair and sighs. On my most dreadful days, I cannot help but feel that I was easy to replace in the first place. Lance has always been well liked by everyone. But you and Lance are nothing alike. Are you sure? They're so similar. Okay, I'm sure they have their differences, but they have their similarities too. I would disagree if you say they are nothing alike, because they are kind of similar in ways. Like Claude says, Lance is like a mirror. No, not at all. But at least I know he's just as capable of being competent. Yet when I see him now, being so insecure about himself, I feel doubtedly irritated. If he's gonna take up the title that I have been training for all my life, the least he can do is take it seriously. Ah, karma. It's not as if he's not taking it seriously, it's just that he's nervous. Boy can be nervous if boy wants, right? So in the end, you're worried about him. Claude looks at me surprised. Am I wrong? You worry about him, and you worry about yourself. The more I talk about it, the pettier it seems. This is why I didn't want to bring it up in the first place. Aw, princess, now is not the time to tease him. But perhaps if I want to get the normal end, I should tease him. So let's tease him. Perhaps a change of atmosphere is for the better. I am disappointed, Chameleon Prince. Klaude looks at me startled. What? Klaude sometimes refers to himself by that nickname here when he is being dramatic, like during our sword practices. It is just an extension of his nickname from home, but it seems to do wonders for his self-confidence. I stand up and cross my arms. The Chameleon Prince, I know, is always overfilled with confidence. He faces his problems head-on and does not let his emotion get the better of him. I would go so far as to say that he even shares his problems with confidence without thinking them a weakness. The man sitting here before me is indeed a petty man, but only because he lowers himself to such. Lucette, I'm afraid you've been demoted to just chameleon now. The princess has humor in her. Klaude rises from the bench and takes a step towards me. Did you just say demoted? Your heart is as cold as ice, love. Perhaps, but at least I wear my ice-cold heart on my sleeve. Klaude puts a hand to his chest and sighs out dramatically. Much to my relief, he is now wearing a smile on his face. And yet, that wasn't always the case, was it? Somehow, you always manage to upstage me, darling. I know how hard I've been working to be the perfect prince. Of course I do, and that is exactly why I think that you hiding from things from me is foolish. It may be wise to hide things in front of other people, but I am not just some other person, am I? Of course not. You see? You may think keeping your emotions tucked away makes you appear more confident, but I know better than anyone else when you are hiding something. Yes, because you're my fiancé, right? Of course, but also because I'm the tandem bearer. You couldn't hide anything negative from me even if you wanted to. A fair point. In retrospect, this whole problem was far more exaggerated than needed to be. Klaude winks at me. For what? I never do anything half-heartedly, darling. I'm relieved that the gloomy mood from earlier has dissipated. One of the good things about Klaude is that he usually recognizes when he is in the wrong and tries to be his best to remedy the situation quickly. He's just stubborn and needs to learn to rely on me more. What happened to the sophistication you displayed in the throne room earlier? Oh, I'm always the picture of sophistication. Right. Klaude's smile becomes softer. Anyway, thank you, Lucette. I think I needed a talk. It is ironic that Klaude is the one that taught me the secrets are dangerous when he himself is still learning to share them. You do not need to thank me, but shouldn't you apologize to Lance? Klaude's expression snaps into something somber. Nonsense! Lance and I will figure this out, as we always do, by competing one-on-one. Passionate challenges always encourage Lance to speak the contents of his heart to other people. I'm not the only one in my family who's good at keeping secrets, you know. The moment Klaude becomes engaged to you, I become the next in line for Bergantian throne. Father has been waiting for me to give a speech officially announcing that. And how is the speech going? Terribly. I die a slow death in front of large crowds. I made the same mistake again. From last episode. Terribly. I die a slow death in front of large crowds. Claude has always been better at the spotlight than I have. I prefer speaking to people one on one. Large crowds are terrifying. Is it possible that there is more to that worry than Lance was letting on? Don't worry about Lance. I only ever provoke him when I need him to talk to me. It is my responsibility as an older brother to set him straight after all. You two are both so problematic. Well, we are brothers. I'm just lucky that I have a certain lovely witch here to listen to my woes. Thank you for that, Lucette. With that, the heart of the problem is at least solved. The both of us both able to go our own ways with confidence. Dun, dun. Oh, not yet? Things have finally wound down for the day when I make my way back to my bedroom. I am almost there when I stop seeing two familiar faces. Oh, Lucette! Good evening, Princess Lucette. Both Emmeline and Lance smile at me. Are they gonna get together? Like Rod's root, they're gonna get together, aren't they? I hope so. They look good together. I don't know why, but they could look... Bruh. But they look good together. Hello, Emmeline. Hello, Lance. I glance between the two of them curiously. Are the two of you on some nighttime stroll? Oh no, Prince Lance was assisting me with a dance lesson. A dance lesson? Normally, Rod helps me with dancing, but since we've been learning Gargantuan style dance this week, I had Lance assist me instead. In exchange for extra dance lessons, Emmeline has been helping me with some other things. Other things? Are you heading back now? I am. I saw Claude pass by earlier. He seemed to be in better spirits than before. Lance's expression darkens at the mention of his brother. Karma. Emmeline looks at him curiously. Alright, you have that challenge with him in a few days. It seems they have been figuring out a time then. Lance narrows his eyes. I will destroy him. Oh my. And here I thought Rod and I were competitive. Anyway, we're going to head out now. Good night, Lucette. The two of them pass me by, and I continue on my way back to my bedroom. The first thing I see upon entering the room is Claude standing in front of the wardrobe, looking deep in thought. He mumbles slightly and casts a glance over his shoulder at me as I enter. What, no knock? Not when this is my room, no. He pauses briefly, his eyes fixated on me for some reason. Without even realizing it, I grasp my pendant and my neck. What, is there something on my face? I just noticed you're wearing the necklace. My fingers loosen around the pendant. Why wouldn't I be wearing it? It's become my most valuable possession after all. I can see the recognition in Claude's eye when I laugh. He glances again at my necklace, eyes soft. I'm glad I could get you something you can always wear around. As for me, he returns his attention to the closet. Looking for something? Yes, one of my nightshirts. He sighs as he squints into the wardrobe. I already know that what shirt he's looking for. I am amazed that he has not already found it, considering I can spot it on the bed. Lol. I slowly inch my way towards the shirt as he closes the closet doors. I manage to grab it and hide it behind my back as he turns around. Lucette, have you seen... He stops when he notices the way I'm sitting against the bed. Slowly, he begins to make his way over to me, a casual smile on his face. I wonder where it could be. He stops right in front of me, and then without words at all, he attempts to get the shirt from behind me. I dodge out the way just in time and circle the bed to put some distance between us. He raises an eyebrow. What is this? Are we playing some kind of game now? A game? This is no game. I'm just getting back at you for keeping secrets from me. I try my best to frown at him, but to no avail. The smile keeps coming back to my lips, no matter how much I try to force it off. Perhaps if you ask me very nicely for the shirt, I shall return it. Klaude takes a step forward and lays a hand on his chest. Lucette, my love, could you please return my shirt? Dramatics aside, I cannot help but cave beneath his pleading gaze. I'm about to hand the shirt to him when he reaches forward in one swift motion and snatches it out of my hand. Hey! Klaude shrugs off his coat with a coy smile. You should know better than to let your guard down in front of me, darling. He turns his back on me as he pulls off his shirt and reaches for the other one. Let my guard down in front of him? Hardly. I approach him swiftly and before he can react, push him down under the bed. He only has a few moments to stare at me baffled before I pin him down. Who's letting their guard down now? Are you sure I didn't let my guard down on purpose? I roll my eyes at him when he grins, then lean down to plant a kiss on his lips. I loosen my grips on his wrist, but only enough so that I can lace them up through his fingers. Before I realize it, I'm lying beside him rather than looming above him. Guys, I can't take this. My face is so red. If I'm being honest, I much prefer this to you pinning me down on the bed. Why? Does your self-esteem crumble when I get the better of you? Still sharp as a knight's blade, I see. Sharper than you in any case. Klaude opens his mouth to say something, but I do not give him the chance to retort. I seal his lips with a kiss. He pulls me closer and brushes a finger against my lips. It is truly impressive that you always manage to such sharp words, even in moments like these. I have to admit that you have the better comebacks. Are you actually admitting that I am better at you than at something? I have to give you credit where credit is due. He draws closer to me and sets his hand on the small of my back. His lips is once again brushed against mine. I can feel the heat rise in my cheeks and fearing that I'm blushing, quickly bury my head into Klaude's chest so he cannot see my face. I can feel his laugh reverberate through my body. Your embarrassment is endearing, Lucette. You realize you do this to yourself, though. I have no idea what you're talking about. You remember last time you set up the rose bath for me and then threw a towel at me and screamed when I insisted you join me? Why would you bring that up again? Because seeing your blushing smile is a precious thing. He puts a hand onto my face and tilts my head upward gently. His lips are already parted when they meet mine, and they are all I can focus on. I am just reading through this. I am not understanding this conversation at all. Zero understanding, just read. I barely notice when Klaude runs his hand down the small of my back, his lips still pressed to mine. He then breaks the kiss and trails his lips down to the side of my neck. I can feel his warmth beneath my ear when he whispers, "Well, I'm assuming you pushed me down for a reason." My heartbeat is too loud for me to even process my wording thoughts. I decide to let my retort go when Klaude presses his lips to mine again, sending a shiver of warmth down from my head to the rest of my body. Da dun. Oh, not yet. The burden of my responsibilities falls away from my body at night. All that remains as I fall to the comforting silence is Claude's warmth and his gentle breath at my neck. Dun dun. Hey. The Princess and Her Prince, Chapter 5. Oh, Chapter 5? It's the last chapter before the ending. Nice. I'm so tired. Okay. So that is all for today. Thank you for watching. And have a good day. I'm not gonna ask you to do anything. I'm tired.